Micky, you spent 10 years working in advertising agencies in the UK, and then you moved to Turkey to head up an agency in Istanbul. What was it like moving into a country so different to the one you've been previously working in, and was it a culture shock?
It was an emotionally driven decision. We fell in love with Istanbul. I really liked the feel of the agency. But it was a huge cultural shock. So I was a Christian in a Muslim country. I didn't speak a word of Turkish. I didn't understand the Turkish business culture. But what I did find was that I forced myself to learn to speak enough Turkish. And the Turks are fantastic. If you go halfway towards speaking their language, they really help you along. So actually I found I could communicate reasonably well in Turkish. But what I loved was the fact that there was such an eagerness to learn and to change. And the guys in the agencies really took to that. But on a personal level, it was really challenging because clearly I was going into the communications industry in a completely different environment. But what I did find was that the principles I'd learnt in the UK were really useful to help develop and train the people working over there.
Do you prefer life working as a teacher and a trainer as you do now? Would you miss that day-to-day buzz and energy of agency life?
Yes, of course. I love developing ideas and bringing creativity to solve business problems, and that's absolutely what really excites me in advertising. But I also, and I guess it must have been always in my DNA, I love teaching. I really enjoy helping develop people and bring them on. And I'm over in Dublin today running a workshop with people from 8 different agencies. And I really enjoy hearing their stories and then trying to share some experience. So I miss the cut and thrust, but I get a huge satisfaction from helping groups of people just develop and try out new things to really help to lift standards across the industries.
As a founding principal of the EACA, can you tell me who are they and what is their purpose?
If you like, the EACA is the IAPI of Europe. So they are the European Association of Communications Agencies. They've been in existence for 60 years. They're based in Brussels because their primary role has been to help be a voice for our industry in Europe. And what's increasingly, as anyone who lives within the EU realises, more and more of the laws and regulations are not coming from the local governments, they're coming from Brussels. And I think I saw a stat that's saying something like 65% of advertising regulation is now coming out of Brussels. So to have an active association lobbying on behalf of the industry to try and make sure that before they impose regulations, the European Parliament thinks about what's the best way to control the industry. And for my money, the best way is self-regulation rather than imposed regulation. So the more the EACA can do that, the better.
In your opinion, what are the key skills needed to work in advertising?
The truth of that is that there are two sides. One is purely the individual, how they come across, their persona, their presence, their communication abilities. And that hasn't changed. We want people in the industry who are bright, they're articulate, enthusiastic, energetic, and nice people who actually enjoy working with. But quite clearly, the absolute technical skill sets is developing. We are desperately short now of people who can really mine data and understand how to use data to the advantage of clients' business and growing brands. And that's a skill set that agencies are really having to work very hard to find the right type of people who can really use big data and use it in a way that is meaningful in terms of brand strategy and brand communication. So there's a big shortage in agencies of people who've got that particular ability to really understand how to use big data and to bring it to life in terms of communication strategies. So that right now is at the cusp, and more people I speak to in the industry are saying, where can we find these people? How can we train them up, or do we bring people in from other companies who've got that sort of analytical ability?
What is the best advice you've ever received?
I've been working at GGT for 5 years, but I wanted to go travelling. I wanted to take a break, and I found it an incredibly difficult decision to make because my career was going through really fast, and yet personally I had a real desire to get off to South America and go and explore down there. And I had lunch with my managing director, Jim Kelly, and I told him about this, and so I said, I'm absolutely loving what I do, but I have this. And because Jim is a fantastic advertising man and really professional, I thought he would just put a block in the way. But he actually said, Micky, if you want to go for it, you should do it. And what I'll do is I'll make sure you have a job to come back to. And I just think that in terms of management of people, that was such a good lesson, because what he did was he gave me permission to go away and have a fantastic travel. I came back and I did another 5 years working at GGT when I came back. And with all honesty, I think if I hadn't had that break and that reconnection with the agency, I wouldn't have been there so long. So what that told me was that when it comes to managing people is, yes, it's all very well to be professional and absolutely looking at their delivery, but treat them as humans and let them be who they are, and you'll get more out of them. So it wasn't a piece of advice, but it was just a tipping point that allowed me to go and do something that I think not only enriched me personally, but I came back and I was even more dedicated and committed to the agency. So I think that really has been influential on how I treat people. I just try and think about who they are as people way before what they do in terms of professional delivery. And I think if you do that, then you're much better set to not only help people develop, but get the best out of them as well.